Seems like we're still on the moon. Look, I can see a star.
No, you can't. Well,
Because it's day?
Yes, you can't see the stars in daylight. You know why?
Why?
Because it's all a hoax.
The stars are a hoax?
Yes.
Oh my Jeebus Christ.
Why are we here? Tell me.
Alright, so we are here on the moon because I want to talk to you about Battlefield. About the whole damn series and about
The
how
whole series in one video.
the whole series in one video. We're going to do this quick because I have only played half of the games and you have played even less.
Yeah, indeed. But we're gonna say our quick thoughts about the whole Battlefield series and why we actually don't play it that much.
Yeah.
Because we actually bought games from Battlefield, but we never played it that much.
It was once one of the games that we played the most and now we don't really play it anymore.
So what happened?
Let's find out. Alright, Battlefield 1942, the World War II Battlefield game.
It's the first Battlefield.
Yes, but it wasn't the first one we played.
No.
It was the second one we played. It's a game from 2002 and it's a very good game. I think Call of Duty 1 came out in 2003 and it's much better than Call of Duty 1.
Yeah, you can still play it this day.
Yeah, because this game has so much more than Call of Duty 1. It has a lot of vehicles you can drive. It has airplanes.
And planes with a great flying engine.
Yeah, it has a really good flying engine. That's something that Battlefield has always done right. They
Yeah.
still do it right, is their flying engine. There's only two games that I know that do this right. It's GTA and Battlefield.
Yeah.
Everyone else fails horribly. Call of Duty fails, Far Cry fails, Just Cause fails.
Which is great.
Yes. They also had helicopters and the Secret Weapons DLC. And they had some cool stuff.
Yeah, but the helicopters in the Secret Weapons DLC were pretty bad though.
Whatever.
They were pretty shitty. But they had helicopters in the next game.
And the next game, which was actually the first Battlefield game that we played, Battlefield Vietnam.
Battlefield Vietnam. It had a great setting.
This is actually my favorite Battlefield game because it has everything, you know? It has multiplayer. It doesn't have a campaign, but it doesn't need a campaign because it has single player and it has co-op play against bots. In Battlefield 1942 you actually have the same stuff, but you also have a campaign. But the campaign is also the multiplayer, basically, except it's against bots. And you like play all the maps in like sort of a story, but you're just playing the maps.
Yeah, and if you win or you lose, it doesn't really matter, I guess.
I think,
or does it?
I think it does, but I think you just fail.
Oh.
So that's Battlefield Vietnam. Do you have anything else to say about it?
No, I love it.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's my favorite one. Is it your favorite one?
It's my favorite Battlefield game, definitely.
I think it's also the best one.
Let's talk about the other ones.
Battlefield 2, we played it a little bit.
Yeah, I played it a bit. It was fine. It was a big graphic change.
Graphic and gunplay change, because that's one thing I have to say about Battlefield 1942 and Battlefield Vietnam.
Jesus
is
Christ.
the gunplay is not very good. You just accept it because everything else is so good about the games. But Battlefield 2 was a big change. They pulled a lot of stuff out of the game. There was no campaign.
Why wasn't there like the same kind of campaign it was in Battlefield 1942 where
No,
you
I
just
don't-
had the maps? No,
No, I don't
can't
think there
remember.
was a campaign at all. There was like a story because it was the US against China.
No. Yeah.
But there was no campaign. There was just like this setting, like it's US against China, I guess.
Yeah, and a few maps where you could kill some Chinese and also some, I don't know, North Africans,
I guess.
Arabians.
Probably also Russians. Who the fuck cares?
You mean like sand people?
No, you racist. No, but the biggest problem with this game is that it didn't have co-op against bots. You could play single player against bots, but you couldn't play co-op against
Are you
bots.
sure?
Yes,
No,
I am 100% sure because we flew around in a helicopter and we just blew up bridges because we had nothing else to blow up.
There was one like thing wrong with everything, and that was you could only play the small maps. Because there were large maps with jets, but you could only play the small maps.
On single player, yeah. Which was horribly annoying because what I like about Battlefield is that you can hop in an attack chopper and blow up hundreds of people in your chopper. But most of the small maps didn't have attack helicopters.
They had like one.
No, most of the maps didn't have one.
Yeah, they did.
There were like 2 maps that had helicopters.
You mean like that? Yeah.
I don't like this game. It's a bad game. I don't like it at all.
It's poorly made.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the end. I think it's one of their worst games.
Battlefield 2?
Yeah, it literally has the least content of all the Battlefield games.
Yeah, that's true. Next
is Battlefield 2142. I only saw like a few photos of this game and I almost bought it. But then instead of buying this game, I bought Battle for Middle-earth 2 and I never played the Battlefield game.
Oh, well you did? Didn't we have Battle for Middle-earth 2 first and then Battle for Middle-earth 1?
Yeah. Because I couldn't run Battle for Middle-earth 2 on the computer because our OS was outdated. So then I bought Battle for Middle-earth 1 afterwards because that actually could run on our operating
Jesus
system.
Christ.
It was back in the day of the horrible computers, folks. It was awful. Next one, Bad Company. Didn't play, don't care. Okay, Bad Company 2. We did play it. We
bought it in England.
Almost 10 years ago.
I really have bad memories of the game.
There's a multiplayer and there's a campaign and there's nothing else. There's no co-op mode. I literally never played the multiplayer because I didn't care at all. And the campaign is like fine. The characters are all stupid.
So this Aguaya's gotta be some highly placed CIA spook to be out here solo. Uh-huh. I don't like it. I don't like any of it.
I really hated the characters.
Yeah.
I really hated them all.
But the gameplay was fine, I guess. Like, you can blow up shit, but every level is kind of the same. You're just walking through, like, a small town with buildings, and then all the buildings blow up. And that's every fucking level.
Yeah.
But I have one thing to say. The very first level, it's in World War II.
Yeah, where you get blown up by the nuke.
This first level, it's, like, really, really terrible.
What do you mean, terrible?
Just awful. Like it's
just plain bad?
Yeah, it's the level begins, there's a fucking long cutscene, and then you get to shoot like 2 Japanese guys, and then there's another cutscene, and then you shoot a few guys, and there's another cutscene. And I understand that it's the prologue, but it's no fun at all, because I don't give a fuck about the story, and there's barely any gameplay, and it's always like interrupted by a cutscene, and it's just awful.
The characters die immediately, so who cares about those?
Yeah. The next one.
You gotta hate the cutscenes in games. Cutscenes in games are awful.
I like when in Skyrim, in
Modern Warfare 2.
In Modern Warfare 2 and in Half-Life 2, where there are technically cutscenes, but you're like still inside of the cutscene.
The character.
And you never see your character from a third perspective.
I
like that the most, because you're never taken out of the game.
Right, next!
And next up is
Battlefield 3.
Battlefield 3. We actually played this a fair amount. Came out in 2011. There's a campaign. I don't remember much of it because the first half of the campaign was kind of boring. You would get sent on a mission with your team and you would see enemies in the distance and you'd start shooting at the enemies. But before you could hit anyone, your AI team would kill everyone. So it was the most boring shit because you didn't get to kill anyone. But then the story got really interesting, like in the second half.
Yeah.
So it was actually a pretty good campaign. But I haven't played it in like 8 years.
It's the last Battlefield game I played, really. Because we played it together once.
Yeah, you bought it, I think 3 years ago or something.
I never want to play it again because it's on Origin and Origin stinks.
But it's actually the only multiplayer we played together since Battlefield Vietnam. And it was actually fun. We had some fun when we were both in a tank.
Yeah.
And one would be like the machine gunner and the other one would drive the tank.
But like, I love to fly aircraft.
Yeah, but this is not the game to fly aircraft.
Well, yeah, because Battlefield Vietnam, the multiplayer, all I did ever was just flying aircraft and helicopters. But then when you try that in Battlefield 3, you like take off and then after a minute you get shot down. So you can't do anything with a helicopter. So we had most fun in the tanks.
There is a co-op mode, but I think we only played like 3 missions. Because it got boring after a while. The first mission is fun though, because you actually get to fly around in a helicopter.
Is that the first one?
Yeah, and blow shit up. But the reason I never played it much was because you have to play it with 2. You can't play it alone, and I don't have any friends. I think they really need to remove missile locking in games. I really hate it.
Missile locking is lazy, it's easy, and it's boring.
Yeah. try to hit something with your own skill instead of just locking onto something.
Good old Vietnam style.
Yeah.
Battlefield Vietnam style.
Battlefield Vietnam, you actually had some vehicles that have had missile locking,
Yeah,
but the vehicles would lock onto just anything, so it would also lock onto friendly vehicles, so you had a 50-50% chance to blow up a friendly vehicle. And then the next one is Battlefield 4. I have never played this one. You also have never played it? No. The reason I never played Battlefield 4 was because it just looked like the same game as Battlefield 3. And I already had this game. So why would I buy Battlefield 4 if I already basically had it, just with different maps? So I didn't give a fuck. I know it also turned out that the game was horribly unstable. So.
Oh, really? After Battlefield 3, I wasn't interested anymore because the missile locking, and it took me out of the game. It was just...
There was too much bullshit. And then it was Battlefield Hardline. I only heard bad things about this game. I've never heard a single positive thing about this game. Like nothing.
There are a lot of DLCs.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess.
There's Hardline Robbery. Hardline Blackout.
No way!
Hardline Whiteout. Whoa! Hardline Redout.
No, that's not true. And the previous one was also false. You horrible fraud. It's cops and robbers.
I guess they just wanted to use the success of Payday 2.
Yeah, maybe. Then it was Battlefield 1, which actually looked pretty good, but I never bought it.
Hey, it doesn't have missile locking.
Uh-huh.
Let's assume that because it's the fucking First World War.
Yeah,
It might have been good.
it looked really nice, but then the campaign was just a couple of short stories.
It's completely multiplayer focused. Who
Yeah,
cares?
and they
Yeah.
just shoved in this campaign just because they kind of had to, I guess. But I did buy the next game, Battlefield 5, which is World War II, and I think maybe I should have bought Battlefield 1 instead, because Battlefield 5 is not a great game. I can talk a little bit more about this one. You didn't
I never played
You
it.
never played it. There's also these short stories as campaign. You have 5 stories. The first one, it's in the desert. It's pretty good. You get to fly around on a plane. It's kind of fun. You don't have to. It's like a choice you get.
Oh,
Like there's just a plane standing there. You don't have to use it.
that's cool.
So that's kind of cool. I was like, oh, maybe I can get in the plane. So I can't get in the plane. And I just start mowing people down. But for some reason, they don't allow you to land the plane. Like my plane wouldn't slow down.
All right, I remember
So
that.
I blew everything up, and I'm like, now I'm going to land this plane, but the plane wouldn't slow down. I couldn't land it, and I just crashed it in the mountain. So that's kind of terrible. So that's like a terrible end to like a fun section.
Yeah, because like even Battlefield 1942 is better.
Yeah,
If you flew slow enough, the gear would open and you could just land the plane.
you would take off and land all the time, just fly around
Yeah.
because it was fun. But the second mission or the second campaign is also really, really good because it's somewhere in Norway, I think.
Nice.
In the snow, and you're this girl or whatever, you're trying to save your mom because she's some scientist who's been abducted by the Nazis to work on some nuclear program.
Seems plausible.
But it's a really good campaign because you're just alone in the snow and you're trying to pick off these Germans, and it's kind of fun because there's nobody talking in your fucking ear. Ramirez, we have to get to Section A. Like you just have to decide everything for yourself, and it's like that the whole time. And then you have something with African soldiers, which is alright. There was no vehicles. It was basically just Call of Duty. There was
Okay.
no vehicles or whatever.
Small spaces.
And the fourth one is about a German tank commander. I think like the characters and overall story is really good, but the gameplay is fucking horrible because you're just driving around in a tank, and then there's an enemy tank, and then you just shoot at each other until one of the two is dead. And then you just stand there repairing your tank, holding a button.
Oh,
and then you
Jesus.
just continue.
Oh my
And there's
God.
another tank. And then you just shoot at each other until the other tank is destroyed. And then you repair your tank. It's fucking terrible gameplay. Like the characters in the little story are good. They're likable characters. Even though they're Germans, they're just people. Just like you and I. No, wait. They're better people than you and I. The multiplayer is super bland, generic. The air vehicles don't even spawn on the map. Now you just have to stare at the fucking spawn screen, like at the map, you know, the mini-map, where you want to spawn. And then you just have to wait there for several fucking hours until an option comes up there's a space free in an airplane, and then you quickly click on that before someone else clicks on it, and then you just spawn in midair in an airplane.
Oh, you don't even have to take off anymore?
No,
Holy shit.
So that's also horrible.
I remember in Battlefield Vietnam, the people who flew the helicopters, they were the best pilots ever. They were flying through the trees, flying between the mountains and stuff. It was fucking nice. They could just pick you up like flying over your face. Now, when you just spawn in the air and like shoot until, I don't know, you crash into the floor.
And then you also have a co-op mode, but it's also terrible. Because just like Rainbow Six Siege, you have the option to play the co-op mode solo. But they were so lazy in making this mode that if you choose to play it solo, the difficulty is not altered to play it solo. There's still the same amount of enemies coming at you solo as with like 4 players. So it's just horrible shit. There's like 2 tanks coming at the same time, and you took a class that doesn't have any anti-tank weapons, so you're just fucked. You can't do anything. So that's our discussion of Battlefield. Back in 2004, the games were great, and now they're not.
The problem with the recent Battlefield games is that they're entirely multiplayer focused and not really focused like
single.
fighting against AIs or something.
Yeah.
They don't want to implement AIs anymore.
They don't want me to like Battlefield. Alright, that was us from the moon. Next time on the moon, an asteroid.
Which blows us way into space!
Alright, bye!